A chip and an MVP. Mr. Warner. That's what I'm talking about. Waiting for Mr. Dana Warner to log back in. Jay, what's good, Jay? Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you do as well. I appreciate that, though, for real, for real. D.
Yeah,
Pause.
yep.
Yes, sir. So,
Yep.
now you could get back to it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you see them at the girls' game.
Right.
Tell them
Right.
just get to the chip.
Just do your job. Just make sure y'all get there because that's what we wanted. You know, we wanted the number one team in the region, just like we were the number two and they were the number one. We ended up making a good run at the end of the season to end up finishing number two in the conference, and they were number one. So we weren't going to be able to catch them. They were like 13 and 0 or something like that. We were 11-2 or 11-3 in the conference. So you know, we did our job or whatever it was, 8-3, whatever it was. We just know we were the number two, and we felt like we could have did a better job during the season. But now it's go time. This is it. This is it. So win or go home, or your season's over. So that's how we looked at it. So we talked our junk, and now it's playing it all the way until we got to the chip. When we got to the chip, we met each other. So that's what it was. And at the end of the game, after we won, you know, I had my headband, 'cause I had braids at the time. Threw my headband off, threw it up in the air, caught it, you know, smacked the floor. You know, I was thanking God, thanking my father, man. You know, during the game, I'm at the free throw line. You know, rubbing my pop. I have a tattoo of my pops here. You know, I was rubbing the tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like his presence was there. So, you know, it was kind of like a sign of accomplishment because I set out and did something that I wanted to accomplish from the beginning of the season. You know, and I wasn't by myself because the guys also had their motivation for playing the way they did too. You know what I mean? So we were labeled as the underdogs, but we didn't play like underdogs that game, and that was a blessing just to be a part of, man. And those guys are still like friends of mine to this day, man, because that's how real the bond was with all of us, because we all found that common bond that kept us together throughout that year. And this was one year that we were all together, but you would feel like we were together for like 4 years the way we played at the end of that season, you know. So we all wanted to win, man, for our own reasons. But I'll say this though. That year almost didn't happen. My pops passed, you know, I thought twice about even playing. And I remember, I did. I was like, yo, you know what? Maybe this is a sign. I don't know what it is, but maybe this isn't right for me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm at the wake, and, you know, I'm sitting there, like, my head down. I'm, like, you know, in my own feelings, my own head. And then I hear my coach, Andy Stanfeld, he comes in, and he brought all the players there. All the players came, and you know, he spoke to me. They gave me their condolences and stuff, and I was like, damn, you know, like there's no way I can't support that. You know what I mean? They came out, and they don't even know me like that, to come out in full force and show their support, you know? And now I was like, yo, y'all doing that? That's the extra mile. That's love, man. So there's no way I can let y'all down because now I know we a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so all of that stuff was like hitting me all at once after that final buzzer sounded off, and you know, I ain't cried then. Like, I was sitting there too emotional to even cry. Like, my emotions was crazy. Like, I got the trophy or whatever, and I walked back up to my mom's and my family and gave her the award, you know, and I came back down and I was feeling it. They interviewed me and I was telling them the emotions didn't even hit because it really didn't at that moment, you know. But I got back home, I got a chance to sit. That's when I kind of let it out, you know what I mean? Because I wanted him to be there, but I knew he was, you know. So not having him there, but having everybody else there together at that moment, that I felt like he was part of that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that was big.
So winning that, like I said, winning that, and then having that emotional year, 'cause that's a
Yeah,
tough year. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Kids,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So
right.
getting through that
Hmm.
and being able to play and being
Yeah,
able to reach what you were able to achieve for City College.
yeah,
Now you're going to the NCAA tournament, right?
yeah,
For
yep,
your thing.
yep.
What's the experience like for you going
Hmm.
through. Like, you know what? I'm really
Get
I'm
into it. Yeah.
juice this last year. You know what I mean?
Yo, I ain't gonna hold you. I thought we was gonna make a hell of a run, like the Cinderella story, man.
Got
Because
you.
I told you like that focus that I felt like the team had.
Yeah.
If we didn't carry it into that game, like I felt like for the younger guys, once we accomplished that accomplishment as far as winning the conference and
Yeah.
winning that championship game, it's almost as if like they arrived. You know what I mean? Like they
Got
felt that accomplishment, so it wasn't no more to really fight for. I could
got
be wrong, but that's just the feeling that I had. So like myself and my other co-captain who was a senior, remember this is our last hurrah. So
Yep.
the freshmen and sophomores, they had more time to come back. We didn't have more time, so this was go time for us. So I
Yep.
felt like the mental part of the game, we did not prepare ourselves to bring in that NCAA tournament because we already had success as far as being the underdogs and winning the CUNY. So, it was a letdown in a sense, but it's understandable. You know what I mean? Because I was a freshman playing, so I knew what it was. Even though I cried when we lost in the chip my freshman year, I still had next year to look forward to. These guys, they still had their following years left in their career to look forward to. So I couldn't put that on them. And, my coach, he apologizes because he took the ball out of our hands in order to use us as decoys because he thought that the team was going to put more pressure on us at the end of the game. So it was kind of one of those close games. And, I was upset at that moment. But listen, you get over that because it's not like he did it maliciously. He was
Yeah.
trying to, outcoach what he thought the situation was going to be. But at the end of the day, you know, I tell you this much, for me as a coach now, I put the ball in my players' hands. You know what I mean? Like I'm living and dying with my players. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't
Decoy.
gonna regret that,
I've never done that.
Right. So we gonna live and die with who got us here. That's just
It.
what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So but it's all lessons to be learned, and that's why I say I learned valuable lessons that year as being like the one of the leaders on the team, the captain, and there were things that we brought that really made it good for the team, and there were other things that challenged players to help them to get prepared for themselves, so that way now they could be leaders when it's their turn. And that's why I felt the camaraderie that we have with those guys that we were playing with that year, that why we're so close now, because those guys were like generation younger than me. These are guys that, remember, I had some bumps in my career. So I basically was already two classes behind from my,
and
right, exactly. So now these are guys that when I graduated high school, they were coming in as freshmen,
yeah.
so these are guys who I'm playing with. And right now we're best friends like that because we grew that respect for each other. That bond is genuine, so real. We all learn from each other. We had guys that challenged each other like that, and wanted to learn and respected others. Just like the way when I was growing up and how I told you, Tim, I'm undervaluing that what that man did for me. Like my dad was in a wheelchair from the age my age of 8 all the way through. So he was paralyzed from the neck down. He had a bad car accident, right? So I didn't have, and my brother, unfortunately, he was, in and out of jail doing his stuff, whatever, learning, growing as a person. So, I had a big family, but I had a lot of females in my family, you know what I mean? And the males were, all over the place. So, Tim, I can't undervalue what he did for me, man. Like when I came out from Chicago, we around the block growing up together. He put me under his wing, man. Like he made me do things that I was like. He showed that NBA respect. You know what NBA vets do to rookies? Like he did that to me. He had me carrying his bag and stuff like that. Like, and I'm not ashamed to say that because I needed that. Like he showed me that humility at that early age. Like, bro, if you want to be somebody, you got to work to it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not treating you as my lackey. This is some part of the game that you need to know in order to develop. So like I'm going to work out with him. In order for me to be able to do that, I got to put the work in. So I'm
Yeah.
doing all that stuff, and he taught me all that stuff, and even to this day, like we're not cousins by blood, but bro, like blood couldn't make us closer, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we are like that, man. Like I love what he did for me, man, because that's the type of respect that I know that I needed to have for the older guys that did it, that was doing it. So that way now, no matter how big I got, I'm still showing them that respect. No matter how good I got, that's still my guys that did it before me. And
Yeah.
that's the appreciation that I felt like the reason why I'm so close with those guys I played at City, because that's the same thing we had. We were competitors, but we respected each other. So I didn't feel like I needed to fight with them for my respect. Like we got that just off the way we competed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's why it's real, and I think that's what a lot of this generation right now is missing, just because they don't necessarily have that connection to each other like the way we did, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They call it social media, but it's making these kids anti-social. That's
Yeah,
what
it's a fact.
these
It's
kids
a
don't know how
fact.
to socialize if it's not going like this. They don't know how to
Yeah,
stand in front of each other and talk to each other and be like, yo, I'm going through this. Yo, what do you
right,
think I should do? No, every
right,
posts for people to be like, yo, you all right? I saw you
right.
posting.
Every true meaning is damn near hidden behind bro. Like, yeah, I love you, bro. What up, bro? Blah 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 blah. Listen, man, you have to talk, man. Dudes need to understand and feel your pain, understand your struggle in order to get to where you need to go. You got to
That's,
learn from what was done before you. You know what I mean?
that's a fact.
So,
So you get through this last year at City College, right?
hmm
You're done
hmm
with that's it. So that
right,
that that chapter's closed.
right, right.
But what are we thinking about now?
So now, I'm looking at some pro stuff. I'm looking at overseas. I'm looking at some semi-pro stuff here in the city. So I had tryouts set up. I tried out for the Westchester Flames, and whatever they were at the time. John Starks was like the new coach of that team. So I was kind of like a guy that was there. Alan Griffin, Zach Marbury, all these different guys were there, and they put me at the far end, like the development side. Like, okay, let's see what happens. And after the first game over there, I moved up. You know what I mean? Because it's like now I'm fine with now having to prove myself, because this is a professional level now. This ain't college no more. This ain't AAU. This is pros. Like, dudes are getting paid for this, and you gotta state your claim as to why you should be here. So I did well in that for the NBDL, but unfortunately that didn't work out, because I didn't get the call to come back to vets camp. But I did well during the tryout, so I had a bunch of people like giving my nephew, because my nephew accompanied me at that time, cars to connect with people overseas, and I was dabbling a little bit with that, but I wasn't the guy that was coming out of my pocket $300-400 to try to pay for some tryout. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather, if you're gonna get a phone call to come out and show out for this tryout, that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Because now I know I'm not feeding an organization money in order to fund some other player. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting a real shot at this. So, so throughout that time, because of that stuff and the way I was doing what I was doing, I got connected with Nike, and now I became like an ambassador for their street brand. So now I was able to connect with them to travel out to China to do this MBA initiative that would allow us to train and develop players out there. But also at the same time, I was still able to try out or work out for like one of their pro teams out there, the Shanghai Sharks. So it was kind of like an indirect tryout. You know what I mean? And nothing really materialized from that the way I wanted to, but it's still a good experience because I was able to make some connections, out in China. So came back from China. And being that, I'm playing up in Dykeman, I'm playing all these different places. Lou Flores and Lou Guzman's dad, they had the gym where myself and Damien used to play it over there, work out at what's that, 160, whatever that back house is
Hybrid?
up there. Right, exactly, Hybrid's gym, right?
Yeah.
So that's Lou Guzman's dad's place. You know what I mean? That's his spot. So now we're working out, playing games there. They asking me if I got Dominican ancestry because they could send me over to DR right now, for some bread, blah, 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 because they felt like, I could get them over there. You know what I mean? And so, huh?
You're not Dominican?
Nah, you thought I was too, right? Yeah, they stupid. Nah, I know. Nah, but so a lot of people did think I was Dominican. You know what I mean? Just because I guess why I used to be around a lot up there like that with and stuff. But so they wanted to know if I had that, so that way now I could get paid as a Dominican national player instead of just trying to come on as a out of state citizen. So out of country citizen or whatever. So that didn't work out because obviously I'm not Dominican, but so I had little things like that go on throughout my whole career. ABA tryouts, ABA vet camps and stuff. So it just never materialized in anything concrete. So I dibble and dab with the semi-pro as much as I could to play a couple of games here and there, but nothing like that to be consistent. So I just decided at this point here, now it's like, well, what do I do? Because I still want to be involved in basketball. And so I got into coaching. And from the coaching, that kind of triggered a lot of my development in order to move up to where I'm at now.
I was gonna ask you when did you realize that, you know what, I gave everything I got to give to this game. I'm comfortable walking away, but I'm gonna stay involved with the game.
Mm-hmm.
So let me turn it into this.
Um,
When did that happen to you? And then what's life been like for Mr. Dana Warner after
Hmm.
basketball?
So when I came back from China and I was still doing the tryouts and stuff for the semi-pro teams, during that time I linked up with a guy, Mark Jerome, who was the head of Riverside Church at that time, and um, there was a gifted and talented school in the city right across the street from Brandeis, the Anderson School, who
Okay.
wanted to start up a basketball program in the mornings for their
Yeah.
school. So, he asked if I was interested in training these kids, and I was like, yeah, why not? Good money in my pocket at the time. So, and I was still doing what I was doing, with the semi-pro stuff. So, I thought it was a good opportunity for me to still train and work with whether or not I want to be a coach or a trainer or blah, 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 whatever have you. So
Yeah.
we're working out with the guys, and they're having a great time, great experience. The numbers are growing. I mean, we started off with like 5, 6 kids in the morning, and we're talking about like 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, whatever it was. And now we finishing up with like damn near 18, 20 kids. So the parents was all now like, listen, if you're interested, we want to know if you wanted to come back and coach these kids into their 6th grade year, in the league that we can get them in. So did that, and that's when I started to have fun with coaching, because now I'm seeing the development of these younger players grow from year to year. And now
Yeah.
I'm getting excited, like coming into that new season, like, damn, now I get a chance to see what these kids are really developing into based off of a lot of the tutelage and knowledge that I'm passing off to go along with other people, because it takes community. It's not just me by
Of course.
myself. I'm not stupid. I know that, but at the same time, I'm excited, just like how I would be excited if I was playing a 2K game and creating a player and seeing them get at different attributes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right,
True.
exactly. That's now how I brought that little, fantasy part to the realism of the game. And once I started to understand how, the players develop and you develop as a coach, that
Yeah.
grew more of an interest into what I was doing. And I think this is when I really made the turn into knowing this is something I should do. When they started to seeing the guys have so much success from the 6th grade year, because we didn't win no games, but they competed. And I told them this is the focus. Like, we might not win, but don't get discouraged. Like, you are learning how to compete against 7th and 8th graders. At one point, at some point, you will be those guys. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And they developed, and we started winning. The school wanted to develop a girls program, and
Okay.
so they was like asking if I could do both. So now I'm the head coach of both boys and girls programs there. And the girls, I had I had damn near more fun coaching the girls
A
at the time,
hundred
because
percent.
it was crazy.
A
It was
hundred
crazy. I
percent.
didn't I, didn't- I didn't think that, Drew. I didn't think that was going to happen.
With
And
girls, I started coaching with girls,
oh
and the
damn.
thing to me is, girls listen more and apply,
Hmm. Apply.
but
Yeah.
more, and
Yep.
soon, where there's gonna come a point, depending on the age group of the boys, they gotta see what you're telling them. They gotta see it. Like, can I see that this dude really did this, or he's just
Right.
telling me to do this? Like,
Right.
how good were you? Like, it becomes where
Right.
when
Right.
where the girls are just like so eager to learn. You tell them, no, listen, run over there, stand, and just jump and go like they're gonna just run.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, like,
Exactly.
they,
Exactly.
you tell
No,
them,
no, you're right. You're right. I think what helped me was, at this time Google was good. So because the guys definitely did Google my name, and they
yeah,
saw what I was did. So that helped me with the guys. But like you said, the girls, I didn't have to go through that. You know what I mean? Like, they were there, and they wanted to show what they could do. They wanted to show that they were learning, and
yeah,
it was great to see their development, and both teams had success. I mean, my guys, we ended up getting to the championship game. Unfortunately, lost to a team that has some really good players that ended up playing Division I basketball.
okay,
And the girls is kind of the same thing. We developed, and my girls were better, more consistent, a stronger team in that league than the guys were, just because we developed that team, and they really brought that energy
yeah,
on a daily. So, throughout this time I was doing that, I also was a part-time coach at Monroe College. So I came back to
okay,
Monroe to start coaching here, and at some point I had to make a choice whether or not I wanted to continue to do it part-time or both. Well, I'm missing this. I became a substitute teacher and assistant teacher at that middle school that I was
okay,
working at. So I was doing all that, making decent pay, with a lot of different jobs here and there, or just stay as the assistant coach at Monroe, not making a lot of pay, but going through that grind of learning how to develop as a coach at the collegiate level. So I had to
yes, sir,
make a choice. So
okay,
I made the choice because I felt the longevity would be for me to be in, collegiate level. And so I left the Anderson school, and became, I devoted my full time as a part-time assistant here at Monroe. And just so turned out that that year was a blessing. We went to nationals. We ended up losing in the semifinal game, which we felt we got robbed, but whatever. That's a long story. Had a bunch of Division I guys on that team, and so following that season, the assistant coach, who was damn near the associate head coach, he got another job as a head coach at another JUCO, and I moved up to first assistant. So now that year paid off to where now I was able to turn that into a full-time job. So now I'm a
Nice.
full-time assistant coach and at Monroe, where I played at, and we're a Division I program, producing NBA players, Division I, Division II players at that level. And I'm enjoying it. And I could just continue to work my way up. I became associate head coach in 2014, and that was great. And 2 years ago, I was asked to be the head coach of the women's team, and this is after a few years I already turned it down.
Yeah.
And so at this point here, the third time's a charm. I was like, why not? And so I took advantage of the opportunity. He asked me again the third time. I said yes, and now I'm over here as the head coach of the women's team.
How's that going?
It's great, man. Like it was different at first because I can't lie to you. Like I needed a lot of people to give me advice to push me to really take this job because I did so much as far as like work and develop my contacts on the men's side that I was worried that I wouldn't be a good enough coach for the women on the women's side in order to be able to get things done like the way I was able to get things done on the men's side. So that was my biggest headache or hiccup at that time. And so, guys are talking about me as far as like, listen, Dana, you'll learn, you'll develop that. We can assist you any way we can. And once I started to commit to it, then I started to see more and more that the people that I had connections with on the men's side could help me build connections on the women's side. And
It's
so
all
that's
back.
what it's been doing. So, yep,
It's all back.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. So that's what it's been, Drew. That's what it's been. And last year, my first year, we went to the district championship game and we lost, unfortunately. But it was a good lesson for the girls because they got a chance to really compete at a good level, and we won 20 games my first year. So
That's
this
what's
past
up.
year, yeah. So that was good. That was surprising at first because you never know what to expect. But I had a good group of sophomores that came back, and we had a good freshman class that came in and did well and developed. And so this past year, we had a big freshman class that we struggled in the beginning, but because of my playing experience, it's not like I'm not used to that. So as a coach, you just share your knowledge, you share the information. So I'm
Yep.
passing off this information to the girls, like, listen, hey, we might not be winning right now, just like I did in the middle school with those kids. Focus on competing because eventually we want to be able to be a better version of ourselves at the end of the year. And
Yeah.
that's what everything came into. We started to develop more during the season to where we did well. We ended up qualifying to go to nationals. And right before COVID hit, I felt like we were playing our best level of basketball.
Yeah.
And when everything hit with the pandemic, that slowed us down a little bit. But I'm still very proud and happy with the success that these girls have been able to make and what I've been able to do to impact their lives and want to continue to do because I feel like I do believe in what we're doing here in Monroe, and I do believe in what I'm able to do as a coach to try to help them to get further than what I was able to accomplish in my career. And that's the give back that made me want to be a coach.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And what's your favorite aspect of coaching, of
Hmm.
being a coach?
Besides the men, I mean, well, besides the on court stuff, because you could go into many different things. The development. I mean, I love to see players develop. So I would say the aspect of on court development is huge because you want a player to come in, feel like they're not a ready-made player, and want to strive to work harder. I had a guy that played for me here when I was an associate head coach, Maurice Endor, who ended up leaving us, going to Ohio University, and then ended up going and playing in the NBA and signed a contract to play with the New York Knicks, Dallas Mavericks, and now he's overseas playing. That guy's work ethic was unreal. Like he was the guy that I never had to worry about meeting or missing a workout. Like he was there. He trained and developed, brought him out to Pro City. He killed, that freshman year going into sophomore year. So I got a chance to see what I wanted to be in the player that I was able to train with and develop. You know what I mean? And
Yes, sir.
because he had that same effort, that energy, that veracity that just made you feel like you can attract yourself to this type of player and believe in him because he believed in himself, but he
Yep.
also believed in the work ethic. So that development, I love to see that in players, and I have girls that are just like that. You know, that's why I said as long as I'm able to make the connections with the players, I'm gonna continue to coach because I feel like my experiences allow me an opportunity to pass off to help these players achieve more than what I was able to achieve, and that's what you want to be able to do. Continue to push the generation forward. You know, so
Abs-
that's what I love, bro.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Question:
Hmm.
most you ever scored in a game?
So we had that on Facebook years ago. So mine was 64, but this was back in like middle school, eighth grade year, playing in some tournament. That's the most I ever scored.
You
It
said
was like
cool, son.
64, middle school. But so high school, college, outdoor, 38, 38. Now that was outdoor. School wise, my high is 28. So I never got to the 30 clip. My high was 28, and that was at City College.
64 though, bro.
64, bro. I mean, at that time, we were pressing. It was like a 2-2-1 half court trap. I was at the top, stealing the ball, damn near dunking them every time. Bro, I
Yeah.
probably had like 40 just off of steals and layups and dunks. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy, you know? But yeah, that was the most I ever scored. Never got close to that again. Actually, I'm lying. I'm lying. I've had a few 40s outside, but that was like more like hood tournaments, you know what I mean? But like the popular tournaments like Dykeman, 55th, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like I had 38 a couple of times. Like I had 38 or 36 in Dykeman. I remember one time right before I hurt my shin, me and Adrian was playing together for Team Dykeman at the time. Sean Couch coaching us, and me and
Yeah.
him was going at it playing. I mean, we him was going at these dudes playing against TMP. You know,
Yeah.
so that was good as game for us. We did really well. And right after that game, or right during that game, dude Shy, I never forget this, ran right into my leg, and I might have did something worse to my shin. I thought it was just my ankle, but I think I really messed my leg up during that time. So it took me a little while to get my shit back at that time, but you know, I was running off the high because I was having really good, like I had two really good summers, as far as street basketball was concerned. And I was really putting my name out there. I had the braids, so you couldn't tell me nothing. I was rocking. You know what I mean? Like, you
Remember.
know, so yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I felt like I was right at the prime of my career, man. You know, things were going right for me in a lot of different ways. You know, so
Opponent you ever faced?
Jesus, Jesus, man. So, hmm, so I I'm gonna say Ron. I'm gonna say Ron Artest.
Okay.
Reason why, because you know, in high school, I was able to meet up against him twice, and because he played all over the court, you know, and I played the three at that time, or whatever, floating between the two and the three. We was able to match up a lot, and he was just so damn tough to defend. But at the same time, anytime you have success against him, like if I get a steal or deflection, and I'll say something or talk my shit, he coming right at you. You know what I mean? Right
Yeah.
at you. So I knew that every single possession I had to be ready to play, you know, and I got some redemption, small, but it
Yeah.
was it was, it was to me it was big. We played against each other in a championship game in Kingdom, and I fouled him out, and I got an N one, so I'm yelling and talking shit. You know, he's smiling and shit. So you know, this is when he's like about the you know, still like he's Ron Artest in the NBA now. You know what I mean? Like this ain't no high school level. He know people know who he is, and you know, I fouled him out, and you know, I got hyped this shit. So that's kind of like my give back to him, but. You know, other than that, I mean, I've had plenty of other guys who I battled with and battled against, but to me, the way he competed, though, I admired, man, and being at that same age level and seeing what he did on a daily basis, night in, night out. That's why when you said two-way players, like I felt like you had to be that way, you know, in order to compete with the guys that was at your level during
Yeah.
that time. You know,
Yeah.
so I had no choice but to because that's all we knew. We didn't know no two-way player. Like you had to play D and you had to play O, or
That was
else you was limited. You know what I mean? That was
that
it.
was
You
quite
know? Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Favorite
Yeah.
tournament to play in, and then I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Jesus. I mean, so I was watching Marv, and see, I love Marv, and I love Pro City, you know, but I don't think that my game was as polished as other guys to really be that type of impact player in Pro City like the way I wanted to. So I had good games, but I didn't have consistent games. Dykeman, though, bro, that energy, that atmosphere, that environment, man, I love. I
Yeah.
love, and I was a little young guy, still in college playing with Team Dykeman when we had Ricardo and Jeff Greer. Jared Lockhart, Kenny Harley, Mercedes without the Benz. You know, all. I mean,
The
the
whole
list
college
of names. The whole.
had
Yeah, come on, bro. Like we're playing against older men, older guys, pros, and all that, and we're going right at them. So for me, that energy was different, man. And just to grow with that tournament throughout the years and see the development of that tournament turn into what it turned into. Like for me personally, I played West Fourth. I played everywhere. Dykeman for me was the best tournament, though. I can't even lie, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on my line with
no,
you, but
no, no, yeah,
on
yeah.
some real, that really what it was. Like I damn near never missed a Dykeman game. You know,
You
I missed
showed
a.
out in my hood.
Well, thank you, man. I tried to, bro. You had to because your ass was getting booed, talk
Yeah.
shit about, or whatever it was if you didn't. You know what I mean? And I played enough teams to know, like, yo, listen, man, if I ain't playing, well, I ain't staying in. So you know what I mean? like we got killers on the bench. So if you ain't playing, Dana, let's go. Like you told me when you brought me in, man. You was like, yo, listen, this is what it is, D. Let's go. Blah blah blah. Like we ain't playing. So at that point, that's what it was. You know, so that's why I brought it like that. So I appreciate that, man. Always did, Drew.
Brother, you already know, man. Thank you for doing this and taking the time out for this.
Of course, my brother, man. Listen, man, I've been watching, man. I really appreciate you asking me to be a part of this, man. And I'm telling you, man, like you know, Cal was talking about, you know, your show is fire, B. Like this is really developing into something crazy, bro. So
Thank
keep
you,
it
bro.
up, man. I'm definitely gonna support you, bro, and much love and always, bro. Always good support, man.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I'm gonna once I flip this to the podcast side, I'm gonna
Yeah.
cover street ball,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we're
That's
gonna
dope.
get the stories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because you know there's
You,
more stories, man.
yeah,
Like
you know what
I
I mean.
got some
Those are
stories.
the good ones. Those are the ones that get spicy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We had a lot of those, man. I mean, like I said, the era that we came up in, man, you had a lot of that. You know what I mean? You had a lot of the 1-on-ones and coming back and playing the 5-on-5 in big tournaments like the next day. You know what I mean? Dudes ready to fight, and then now you got to play against each other in front of the big crowd, and they don't even know why the energy's so crazy. But
Yeah,
that's what it was. Like, yeah, we got stories, bro.
yeah. So you already
So,
know. Next time we do this, it's gonna be for the summer ball thing.
yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir. I'm
appreciate
here.
it, Dana, man. Thank
Thank you,
you again.
Drew. Always a pleasure, bro. Thank you, man.
No, always love.
Peace, baby.
Yeah, Mr. Warner. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm working on something for this weekend. I will definitely keep y'all posted. But you already know, man. Interviews with Dykeman Drew. Thank y'all again.